A set. And they're off. Racing away for the Chesham Stakes to 2-year-olds over the 7 furlongs. Dallas Star was well away there from stall number 1. Up there early on is the Monty. More towards the centre is Carolina Reaper in those green and white silks, being tracked through by the blue of Snellen. Sadati not far behind him with Lightning Leo, then Pearls and Rubies and Warney. More towards the inside in the yellow is Golden Mind, and then Count Palatine, the green jacket, the white cap. Over toward the far side then is Hot Fuss in those blue and yellow silks. Odyssey is racing in company with that one. May's just in front of those two. Content is more back towards the rear of the field, together with Lagarida, as they're about to now race towards the final 3.5 furlongs. Inside that mark, Lightning Leo, together with Carolina Reaper. Dallas Star, the white cap, to the far side. Then Warney, Sadati. Content is creeping into it. Macnuke is ridden along to the back of the field. So too Count Palatine. May's under pressure over toward the left-hand side. They're inside the final quarter mile. Plenty of chances here. Carolina Reaper, Snellen, Content, and there goes Pearls and Rubies, the white sleeves and cap. They're inside the final furlong and a half, and it's Pearls and Rubies and Snellen now go on from Carolina Reaper, who's battling away. The Monty's trying to stay on. Snellen in the blue. Down the centre is Pearls and Rubies. Odyssey's flying for the back. Golden Mind is keeping on as well. Pearls and Rubies and Snellen, they're wide apart. They hit the line. Snellen and Pearls and Rubies is close between them. Then came Odyssey and Golden Mind. And they're off. 7 furlongs for the Jersey Stakes. A little bit slow to gather stride there was Thunder Bear from stall number 5 as Covey shows prominently early on under Frankie and already develops a length and a half or so lead from Age of Kings in maroon and blue silks, together with maroon and white of Empty Metaphor. Flight Plan is next in the grey silks. Over toward the far side is Holguin in the black and yellow. More towards the near side is Quashamar. Holloway Boy in the midfield with Zoology. Then came Enfajar and the Antarctic. Behind the Antarctic there, over toward the far side, and is looking to creep into it a little bit now, Alexandra John in maroon and white silk. Streets of Gold just in front of that runner. Further back to the Antarctic, Mysterious Night, Olivia Marauder and Thunder Bear is the back marker. Covey leads narrowly as they race now inside the final 2.5 furlongs from Age of Kings, who's poised to strike. Streets of Gold trying to get going. Flight Plan is ridden for more. So too Zoology, as Age of Kings has now picked it up from Covey, who's under pressure. Streets of Gold is coming up with something. Holloway Boy's trying to run on toward the far side. Zoology certainly getting going. Age of Kings now taken on by Streets of Gold. Holloway Boy finishing the far side, then came Flight Plan. They're inside the final furlong. Age of Kings narrowly now to Streets of Gold. Holloway Boy, Zoology and Olivia Marauder all coming there. It's Age of Kings who is out in front. Age of Kings has won the Jersey. From Zoology, Streets of Gold and Holloway Boy tight in behind third and fourth.
A few jostling in the gate. They're off. Away they go. The astrologist half a stride slower. Highfield Princess bounces out of the gate on the near side to lead from Art Power and Emirati Anna. And they're tracked by Artorius towards the near side, stand side. Elsa Hale is further back. Also out the back of the field, Run to Freedom. And we lost one. We've had one unseated in the early part of the race as the astrologist now comes through to lead from Coeur de Pierre. Kinross on the left. Sacred is there. Then Big Invasion. And at the back of those is KHAADEM. Down the centre, Art Power is chased by Artorius. Highfield Princess is on the right with Emirati Anna and Sandrine. Behind those then is Al Suhail. Further back to Rohan and Run to Freedom as they now run on towards the final couple of furlongs. And inside the final two, Wellington's got plenty to do out the back. Highfield Princess. Sacred comes through on the far side with the astrologist and Kinross and Coeur de Pierre. Then KHAADEM and the action towards the far side. Sacred. KHAADEM is chasing hard. It's the mare Sacred out in front, but here's KHAADEM and Highfield Princess battling on, racing up towards the line, and KHAADEM is getting up. KHAADEM wins the Jubilee. A big shock from in second, Sacred far side. Highfield Princess on the near side. And well, there's Group 2 Hardwicke Stakes, and they're off. Changing of the guard away fairly well towards the inside. Looks like Ryan Moore would like to go forward with Pile Driver in the red cap handy. West Wind Blows is out wide. Deauville Legend is back in fourth place, 2 or 3 lengths to Arda Can. Free Wind to the outside of Grand Alliance as they make the run downhill through the first quarter mile. West Wind Blows up on the outside under Jamie Spencer, seeking a big double here today after KHAADEM's win in the Jubilee. Changing of the guard, second Pile Driver, third Deauville Legend, just tucking in behind those the Melbourne Cup, fourth. They are followed by Hardwicke and Free Wind, the favourite, just to the outside of Hardwicke, and finally it's Grand Alliance. They're just racing off the inside of the course here, spurning the running rail going down that hill. West Wind Blows, freewheeling along now, 2.5 lengths to Changing of the Guard in second, a similar margin back to Pile Driver. Deauville Legend is held on to then from Hardwicke, Free Wind, and 2.5 lengths last then to Grand Alliance. About to run up the hill and approaching the final 6 furlongs, the final 3/4 of a mile, and they're quite well strung out. West Wind Blows taking them along at a brisk gallop from Changing of the Guard second, Pile Driver third, Deauville Legend back in fourth from Hardwicke, and then Free Wind, and lastly Grand Alliance. And now they're just beginning to pack a little closer as they continue their journey on towards the final half mile in the Hardwicke Stakes. West Wind Blows from Changing of the Guard, Pile Driver, Deauville Legend just now preceded by the improving Free Wind in the hands of Frankie Dettori. Hardwicke and Grand Alliance, and now they're into the final right-hander. It's still West Wind Blows by only a length to Changing the Guard, who's pushed up to challenge the leader. Pile Driver in a slight pocket round the inside, Free Wind. Deauville Legend right round the inside from Hardwicke and Grand Alliance, swinging for home and on towards the 2 furlong marker. It's West Wind Blows challenged all the time by Changing of the Guard. Deauville Legend seeking a run up the fence, out wider Pile Driver, and wider still is Free Wind. It's West Wind Blows. Deauville Legend caught on the leader's heels. Out wide Pile Driver running a massive race from Changing of the Guard. Free Wind's got to find more inside the final furlong. Pile Driver just leading but wavering in front from Changing of the Guard, and West Wind Blows. Pile Driver's all over the shop, but the King George winner comes back with a glorious win at Royal Ascot in the Hardwicke. Great piece of trading. And they're off. They race away for the Wokingham. Princess Shabnan towards the near side. Jean Le Pen began very well over on the far side. Tis Marvellous showing speed. Duca de Como, the grey, is racing prominently over there as well. King's Lynn chasing Tis Marvellous. Prominent Cape Moss with Chipstead 2 down the centre, or more to the centre of that group is Apollo 1, followed by Mum's Tipple, and then Dream Composer, Mr. Wagyu. Towards the back is Fresh in these early stages, and Spangled Mac. Centre field group coming across a little bit. First Folio the grey leading from Jean Le Pen, and then behind those is Tabdeed with the white blaze, Kanjar and Bielsa, and they're checked by the favourite Orazio, who's got a bit to do at the moment from Princess Shabnan. Summergand and Al-Bashir is at the back of the field. They're tending to race middle to far side inside the final 2 furlongs. Apollo 1 has just come through to lead. Here's Mum's Tipple with a chance under Frankie Dettori. King's Lynn on the far side is rattling home. Down the centre it's St. Lawrence from Jean Le Pen and Orazio trying to get there. These are the contenders. Apollo 1, St. Lawrence, Jean Le Pen racing up towards the line. St. Lawrence is doing best. It's St. Lawrence for the Wokingham. Apollo 1 probably second. Jean Le Pen with Mum's Tipple fighting it out for Miners, and King's Lynn doing well on the far side.
And they're off. They race away. The journey is 1.25 miles for the Golden Gate Stakes, this handicap. And one of the first ones to show is Zeryab in dark blue and red. Knockbrex also has a prominent early roll under Frankie. To the inside is Londoner in the pink jacket. They're followed through by Canute, who is closely attended to by Burdett Road and James McHenry. Liberty Lane on the inside of those two. More then down towards the inside is Have Secrets in the black and light blue. Ahead of Lose Your Wad, and then came Obelix and Laffy towards the inside of that one now as they race around at Swinley Bottom. It is Knockbrex who goes along out in front. He shows by the best part of a length over Zeryab in second, and Londoner is racing back in third. Liberty Lane is quite keen in fourth. Canute is next in fifth. Then Burdett Road and Have Secret and James McHenry, followed by Lose Your Wad, and then back towards the inside. Cuban Dawn, he's now been ridden. The long line of war is also towards the back of the field. James McHenry caught a bit of a bump there racing in midfield, appears to be dropping back through the field. Canute there, he looks to be being taken out of the race, so Canute has been pulled up. Meantime out in front it's Liberty Lane, who's now got to the front from Knockbrex and Londoner. Have Secret and Zeryab the next two. Lucia Watt to the inside of Burdett Road, then Obelix. Laffy's been ridden along. James McHenry next, and then Lion of War is trying to creep up into it. Coco Jack towards the inside, still further back with Local Dynasty, and Cuban Dawn is last of all. They enter the home straight with just over a quarter mile to go, and it's just about London in the pink who's now come through to lead. Burdett Road is dropping away there towards the outside. Is not Brex as Burdett Road toward the outer is powering home. Best of all is Burdett Road who's come through to pick it up, and he goes on by a couple of lengths now to Have Secret. Behind that one, Lose Your Ward. Line of War late on the scene to the inside. Local Dynasties flying home to the outer. It's Burdett Road under Neil Callan from Line of War, trying hard near the line. It's Burdett Road to win the Golden Gates. Burdett Road from Line of War in second. Local Dynasty near side may just be in third. Set to go, and they're off and racing for the final race of Royal Ascot 2023. It's the longest race of the season, 2 miles, 5.5 furlongs in front of the runners in the Queen Alexandra Stakes. And the first one to show in the white and black is Cold Tour. That's a little bit wider from the others. Dawn Rising also has a handy early position. The Grand Vizier is close up in the blue and orange. And the black and red of First Emperor's jockey Kieran Fallon completing out the leading 4. Tucked in behind is Stratum in those blue and white silks. More towards the inside in the maroon is Estacas under Billy Loughnane. Further back to Falcon 8 in the purple and yellow silks there for Tom Marquand. And the back 2 towards the inside, Run for Oscar in the mauve silks with the noseband, and in pink and green the filly Typewriter is last of all under Oisin Murphy. They continue the way up the home straight at a very steady gallop. And it's Cold Tour in those white and black silks. He shows narrowly out in front under Jason Hart. To the outside is Dawn Rising under Ryan Moore, who will be leading rider at Royal Ascot 2023. First Emperor tracks through to the inside. Then came the Grand Vizier. He's been placed in this race a couple of times before. Estacas is towards the Grand Vizier's inside. And then Stratum is trying to win this race for the 3rd year in a row. In blue and white silks, he has 3 horses behind at this point. Run for Oscar, Cesarevich winner from last season, sitting there 3rd from back. Second to last Falcon 8, and the back marker the filly Typewriter as they come up by us with a lap to go in the Queen Alexandra Stakes. And it's Cold Tour. Cold Tour who leads the way, make it a length and a half to Dawn Rising, who races towards the outside of First Emperor. They're in 2nd and 3rd. The Grand Vizier is next, and shadowing Estacas throughout, placing in 4th and 5th. Then Stratum, no move yet from him at this early stage. Run for Oscar runs 3 parts of a length behind him. Falcon 8 is still 2nd from back, and Typewriter is the back marker as they make their way inside the final mile and a half. It is Cold Tour. Cold Tour's on the front end from Dawn Rising in 2nd. Back in 3rd is First Emperor, always handily positioned. The Grand Vizier is in 4th, have his 2nd run this week at Royal Ascot. Estacas is behind him, then Stratum and Run for Oscar, Falcon 8 and Typewriter. She remains the back marker of the 9-strong field. Inside the final mile and a quarter, and it's Cold Tour. Cold Tour from Dawn Rising to the outer. First Emperor back in 3rd. The Grand Vizier, he's racing in 4th. Estacas is next in 5th. Stratum's another length behind. Behind Stratum is Run for Oscar, Satchely under Jim Crowley. Falcon 8 is still 2nd to last, and Typewriter is still at the back of the field. So on they go towards Swinley Bottom shortly, and it's Cold Tour. Cold Tour leads by 1 length over Dawn Rising in 2nd place. That's First Emperor in 3rd. The Grand Vizier, he's still racing in 4th. Then Estacas and Stratum ahead of Run for Oscar, Falcon 8 and Typewriter as they turn to race down the side of the course and head now inside the final 6.5 furlongs. It is Cold Tour. Cold Tour leads by a half a length only to Dawn Rising in 2nd as they begin to climb. Back in 3rd is First Emperor. The Grand Vizier is in 4th. Estacas is back in 5th, then Stratum and Run for Oscar. Falcon 8 and Typewriter at the rear of the field. They're heading now down inside the final 5 furlongs. The pace is beginning to increase slightly. Cold Tour nudged along in front. Dawn Rising travelling well towards the outside. A length then back to find First Emperor. Followed closely by the Grand Vizier. Stratum still waiting behind rivals in company with Estacas. Run for Oscar is still very much covered up with his run. The nudged along Falcon Falcon 8 is second to last as they start to turn towards home, and Typewriter is the back marker. Coltor's under pressure out in front, about to be joined here by Dawn Rising. The Grand Vizier's getting going in the blue and orange. Then came First Emperor. Stratum's hard at it. Run for Oscar is desperately looking for room. He appears to be cruising in behind, but will he get through? They're racing inside the final furlong and a half. It's Dawn Rising. Typewriter has shot through to the inside to go more prominent now. Then the Grand Vizier and Estacas. Run for Oscar is trying to get rolling. Then Stratum. They're inside the final furlong. Dawn Rising trying to tough it out. Here comes the Grand Vizier over the top. Dawn Rising digging in under Ryan Moore. The Grand Vizier trying hard, but it's Dawn Rising to win the Queen Alexandra. From the Grand Vizier, Run for Oscar, but unlucky in the run in third. Then Typewriter, Falcon 8 and Estacas, followed by Stratum.